guy that plays the safety position. Overall, he's just a guy that I think the Huskies will want to get on the field as he's a playmaker. But now getting into the segment at hand, the wide receiver position preview. With all these wide receivers transferring from UW, the young receivers are going to have to make a large contribution. Now, just reminding everyone who they lost. They lost Puka Nacua. He transferred to BYU about a week ago. And then Ty Jones transferred to Fresno State a while ago. And Jordan Chin transferred a while ago to Sacramento State. The production they're losing in these guys is immense for this wide receiver room. Chin in his UW career had 2 touchdowns. Ty Jones had 6, while Nacua had 3. That now, though, leaves on the Huskies roster only one receiver who has caught a touchdown pass for Washington, and that's Trell Bynum with 2. This also probably means that the transfer from Texas Tech, Jalen Polk, will have a bigger role than originally anticipated, with him now being the only other receiver having a touchdown reception in college football. As a freshman at Texas Tech, Polk had 28 catches, went for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns, playing in 10 games. And I believe I saw that he had a catch in each of the 10 games. And then he also had 0 drops. So he's a guy with reliable hands and a guy that hopefully whoever the starting quarterback is can kind of make a connection with and be a reliable weapon for him. Now, even with the Huskies losing all these guys transferring to other schools, I still think they're in a good position with the young players they have. Now, before I get all the way into that, another thing that it mentioned is there's some rumors that juniors Austin Osborne and Marquis Speicher may also be transferring. Now, if that does come to fruition, then the Huskies wide receiver room will be even thinner, as they only have 7 scholarship wide receivers, with only one of those guys being an upperclassman in Bynum. Now, even with that, like I said, I like this wide receiver room. I think they have the most talent in that room since that 2016-2017 season with John Ross and Dante Pettis having great years. And getting that talent, I think, really lies heavily on Junior Adams doing a great job at recruiting. Now, he's gotten the recruiting part down. The next step for Junior Adams is going to be developing that talent and transforming these young 4-star wide receivers into star college football players. They've got redshirt freshman Romo Dunze. They've got redshirt freshman Jalen McMillan. Both were 4-stars coming out of high school. Both of them got great opportunities last season to play with the injuries and just kind of the odd season in total. With the COVID, Puka Nacua being out, as well as Bynum, I think, missed the last game. Rome actually started that game and had 5 catches for 69 yards. McMillan also had a catch that game for, I believe, 16 yards. And McMillan didn't have as many stats as Rome. Neither one had a bunch, but they showed great skill at running routes. They both looked good running routes. They both were able to get separation. There were just a lot of times where there was a miscommunication on the quarterback receiver side, and there was a poor throw, or in some cases, a poor catch and a drop by the receiver. Then also another young receiver the Huskies have that has talent is Jabez Dene. He's a true freshman this year, 4-star out of Kennedy Catholic with Sam Hewitt. Now, these high-ranking receivers are coming to UW to play because they like Adams, in my opinion. Now, this is just totally my input, just might not be true, probably isn't, maybe it is, I don't know, but I can't imagine Lake and his offense as being the reason these Huskies are getting these 4-star wide receivers with great talent. As a wide receiver wants to go to a college that throws the ball, that's what hurts the Huskies, as the Huskies offense is known as an old school offense that runs the ball down the other So Adams is clearly being a leading factor in getting these wide receivers here, creating this great relationship. In Nakua's interview that he did with KJR, I think it was, after he announced he was transferring, he talked about how much he loved Adams and how much he loved the atmosphere at UW with these receivers. So Adams is clearly a coach that the players build a great relationship with and really just love overall and think he's a great guy. So now that Adams has been able to develop these relationships, he's going to have to start developing superstar wide receivers, which that's something he hasn't yet shown. Nakua was probably his best receiver that he had on the roster and the guy that was looking like he might develop into a superstar. But now Nakua is no longer. So the Huskies are going to have to fill that void somehow. And it's going to be coming from these young, four-star, talented wide receivers being kind of thrown into the fire earlier than maybe the coaches would have liked. What I'm trying to say here is that the Huskies have all the pieces to have a very successful wide receiver room. They have the players. The issue is that they might run into depth issues and coaching issues. For the depth, like I said above, they only have 7 scholarship players. If Speicher and Osborne leave, that would just diminish the depth immensely. And the Speicher and Osborne SGR would put them at 9 scholarships, but without them, it'd be down to 7. So if a couple of guys get injured, next thing you know, you've got wide receivers, 3-star freshman wide receivers getting huge snaps in games, which is something you wouldn't want as a UW fan. Now, as for coaching, like I said, Adams is a guy that players love, but he hasn't yet had any superstar receiver numbers put up as his 3 years as the wide receiver coach. And part of that might fall on the offense and it being a run-heavy offense. But still, I'd like to see Adams get one of these 4-star players, maybe even one of these 2 in Jalen McMillan, Roma Dunze, into a difference maker early.